Are you unsure how to win your claim for an increase with the Department of Veterans Affairs? Stick around. In today's video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step instruction on how you can win your VA claim for an increase. Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on how you can win your VA claim for an increase, okay? A lot of veterans, they'll say, Dwayne, I'm service connected for this. I went to a CMP exam and it came back and I was still at the same percentage, okay? But when I talk to those veterans, I ask specific questions and the answers they give me are totally wrong, and that lets me know they are uneducated on how they can win their claim for a VA claim increase. So there's 5 different ways of service connection, and an increase is one. So in order to obtain an increase, you need to be already service connected, whether it be at 0, 10, 20, 30, 40%, or whatever, all right? Now, the first thing that I tell veterans they can do is contact the National Call Center and get a particular document if they don't already have it, okay? So as one of the fellow subscribers said, hey, I know you're in the Army because you love slides. So today I have some slides. I'm gonna give you some examples of what I'm talking about. And this will be that step-by-step process that I'm talking about so you can win your claim for increase, okay? So I got 4 slides and we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. So slide number 1. Here in slide number 1, this is the letter that I'm talking about. So if you attend any of my bi-weekly VA live streams, VA Q&A live streams, I always challenge veterans to get a copy of their VA claims folder, okay? But if you don't have it, that's okay, or if you're waiting on it, that's okay. But this document is something that you want to have in your arsenal before you even file a claim for increase, and this is why. So as you can see on here, this is just an example of one I made up of John Doe for some training I was doing for some veterans. On here, it lists everything that John Doe veteran is service connected for. So as you can see, I have something highlighted in red, 20% lumbar strain, diagnostic code 5237. Piece of valuable information. And the way you get this letter, you can contact 800-827-1000, 800-827-1000, and at the top where it says example only, you request a disability breakdown letter to include the diagnostic codes, okay? So again, 800-827-1000, and you're gonna ask for a disability breakdown letter to include the diagnostic codes, and they can email you this letter, okay? Now, the reason why this is important is because you know exactly what they service connect you for, the disability, and the percentage, and also the diagnostic code. That's key, because this particular example I'm using today, the veteran is 20% for a lumbar strain, diagnostic code 5237. So why is 5237 so important? It's because it will have the criteria you need to meet for the increase from 20% for 40% for the back in this example that I'm giving today. But these other conditions, any condition that you're claiming, then if you're not maxed out on that condition, that diagnostic code will tell you the criteria. Now, where can you get the criteria from, okay? So, slide number 2. Here in slide number 2, this is another example. If you have a copy of the rating decision and the reason for decisions, it'll tell you this is what you service connected for. You can see what I have highlighted in red. It says we assigned a 20% evaluation for the lumbosacral strain based on forward flexion of the thoracolumbar spine greater than 30 degrees, but not greater than 60 degrees. And then it goes on to say a higher evaluation of 40% is not warranted. And then in red, it explains why. Forward flexion of the thoracolumbar spine 30 degrees or less. So they're telling you why they granted the veteran the 20%, but they're also telling you the criteria for the next higher percent that wasn't warranted at the time they adjudicate this claim. That's the criteria for the increase. They're telling it to you right there. So in that other letter, in the first slide that I showed, the disability breakdown letter, this is why the diagnostic code is critical, because you can go to the VA's website and find additional information. But you already have this information if you're already service connected. A lot of veterans like to throw those rating decisions away, but they could come in handy down the road, especially if you're going to file a claim for increase. So in every rating decision, they have to tell you why they granted a particular percentage and the requirements for the next higher percentage. Okay, so a lot of veterans, especially for the back, they'll say, hey, Dwayne, I'm 20% for my back, but I got a herniated disc, I'm taking injections, I got all this medication. Where do you see herniated disc or medication in this criteria for 40%? There isn't. Now, all that could affect your range of motion or the degrees for forward flexion, but it's not the criteria, okay? So, slide number 3. And here in slide number 3, you can see at the top, I just put, diagnostic code 5237, lumbar, sacral, and cervical strain, because the criteria for the percentages are the same. So for the 20%, you can see it right there, forward flexion of the thoracolumbar spine greater than 30 degrees, but not greater than 60 degrees. So in the previous slide that I showed, that piece was in the rating decision. Now look at right above that in blue. What does it say? Forward flexion of the thoracolumbar spine, 30 degrees or less, the 40%. Guess where we just saw that? In the previous slide, in the reason for decision section, where it says it wasn't warranted. So that's why in the first slide, getting that breakdown letter is key, because you want to get that diagnostic code. So if you don't have the rating decision, you have the diagnostic code, and you can come here and you can see, oh, I'm 20%, but what is the 40% criteria for the back condition? So you can see that criteria. Now, you can do this for any condition that you're service connected for, all right? But if you have the rating decision, you can go to the rating decision. But again, a lot of veterans that I talk to, they say, Dwayne, I threw that rating decision away. I don't have it. So getting that breakdown letter, disability breakdown letter, in that first slide that I showed you, and getting that diagnostic code, and going to the VA's rating schedule and searching that diagnostic code, this criteria will come up. And this is for every condition, any condition and all conditions that you're service connected for. But you got to find out what you're service connected for first, not what you think, but what you actually are, and you can get that diagnostic code. Now, the last and final slide. This is how they measure the range of motion. So when it says forward flexion, look in the lower right-hand corner where it says flexion and extension. So that veteran is leaning all the way down. That's 90 degrees. That's how they measure it. Okay, they have you stand up, maybe say bend over and touch your toes, or something like that. Okay, so that's something that you definitely want to keep in mind, especially when you're doing a claim for increase and for the back. Okay, so I hope I didn't confuse any vets out there, but again, it starts with knowing what you are service connected for. How do you do that? Get a copy of the disability breakdown letter. You'll see the percentage, the condition you're service connected for, and the diagnostic code. If you have the rating decision, you can go to the reasons for decisions for that particular condition. It'll tell you why they granted you that percentage and what the criteria is for the next higher. If you don't have the rating decision, then you got the disability breakdown letter with the diagnostic code. You can go to the VA's website, go to the VA rating schedule and look for that diagnostic code, and it'll tell you the criteria for the next hire. A lot of veterans miss that because they're thinking, oh, especially for a back, I got a herniated disc, I'm taking medication. And as an example that I showed you in the journal rating criteria for the spine, herniated disc, medication, shots is not part of any of the criteria, but especially the 40% that I showed, okay? So that is why it's important, one, to be educated if you're trying to win your claim for increase, okay? So leave some comments in the comment sections and let me know what you think. And as always, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't forget to share. And also, in November, I'm going to be offering some private Q&A sessions for a small group, okay? So I'm only going to open it up to about 5 or 6 veterans because during my live stream, a lot of people are asking questions and I'm not really understanding some of those questions. So it'll be we'll be doing it by Zoom, okay? So be on the lookout and sign up for that because you don't want to miss it, okay? So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video.